What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 9:54 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States. So, we currently have two nuclear war command and control planes in the air tonight. One of them just landed at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City, and one of them is currently flying over Jacksonville, Florida. And the one flying over Florida made a weird uh, flight path over upstate New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and North Carolina. I'll show you guys that in a minute here. But we have this one here that went from Travis Air Force Base to Tinker Air Force Base. And Tinker is their home base for the whole country, and Travis is their West Coast home base. But two of them up in the air this evening. That's a good amount. We had a B 52 nuclear bomber airborne earlier today. The past couple of days, just a massive number of these nuclear war command and control planes. And these planes can remotely launch all of our silo based missiles. We currently have 400 of those missiles, officially just one warhead on each missile, but I believe we're in the process of rearming those to 3 warheads per missile. And so these planes could launch all of those silo-based missiles that we have in the event that ground-based command and control gets wiped out by enemy nuclear weapons. And these planes can also communicate with our submerged nuclear-armed submarines. They can relay nuclear attack options and also emergency war orders, which are basically launch codes from the president, okay, to order a launch of nuclear weapons. Okay, so these planes are very important, and we've seen a lot of them airborne in the last few days, but two of them up in the air this evening. I want to just give you guys an update on the emergency alert system tests that are going on in Russia and in the US. Okay, so Russia is doing their version of a nationwide emergency alert system test tomorrow, okay, copying us. All right, we announced it first, and now all of a sudden they're going to do it. They supposedly did some nuclear war readiness exercise today. We didn't hear too much about it, but according to Russian media, they were practicing for a scenario in which 70% of housing in Russia was destroyed, life support facilities were destroyed, and there was massive amounts of radioactive contamination across Russia. So Russia is taking this seriously. They're getting ready for nuclear war. We're getting ready for nuclear war. Okay, the last 2 months, we've seen a massive amount of doomsday planes, nuclear war command and control planes, nuclear bombers. Okay, we moved 3 stealth bombers to Iceland, all right, a month ago. And we also moved Tomahawk missile Ohio class sub for the first time ever to Norway with 154 Tomahawk missiles, which, by the way, are nuclear capable. Okay, the Tomahawk missile was originally designed to carry a W-80 nuclear warhead, which has 150 kiloton blast yield, which is like easily 5 or 6 times as powerful as the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs. Okay, that's just on one Tomahawk, and that sub can carry 154 of them. All right, so that one sub could literally annihilate an entire missile field that Russia has in Western Russia. They can take out every single silo in one of Russia's missile fields, okay? And that's just one sub, all right? And it's in Norway right now, okay? It's not a coincidence that that's there. It's not a coincidence that we moved 3 B-2 stealth bombers to Iceland. It's not a coincidence that Britain is moving, or they already moved Typhoon fighter jets to Poland. It's not a coincidence that there's a high priority reconnaissance plane flying in the Baltics, and just a ton of NATO recon planes in Eastern Europe and Poland and the Baltics. It's not a coincidence that we're seeing doomsday planes and nuclear bombers and E-6 Mercuries in the air basically every day. Okay, there's a buildup going on. All right, we had 2 more Russian drones crash on NATO territory just about a week ago. 2 of the drones landed just a mile and a half from a city with a population of 300,000 people. Okay, imagine if those Russian drones actually crashed in that city and what that would have caused. Last September, we had a close call where 2 Russian fighter jets confronted a British manned reconnaissance plane in the Black Sea. One of the jets launched 2 air-to-air missiles at the British manned reconnaissance plane with up to 30 crew members on board. And one of the missiles malfunctioned, and the other one was actually launched, and somehow it was not able to lock on to that British manned reconnaissance plane. But if it did lock on and hit it, that could have sparked nuclear war. I mean, it would have just been a domino effect from there. Okay, but tensions are the highest they've ever been between Russia and the United States, guys. I cannot emphasize to you how serious the situation is right now. Okay, we have never seen these kinds of tensions before, even during the Cold War. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. The Cuban Missile Crisis only lasted a couple of weeks. All right, they were able to come to an agreement. The U.S. pulled its missiles out of Turkey, and Russia pulled its missiles out of Cuba, and that was it. Okay, but we have this ongoing Cuban Missile Crisis for the last 2 years. Ever since this war started, it's just been at that same level as the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it hasn't stopped. Okay, and it's getting worse and worse every day. Okay, Putin announced a few months ago that he was pulling out of not the INF, I'm sorry. He was pulling out of the New START treaty, okay, which was the treaty that Obama signed to reduce the number of deployed warheads. He's pulling out of that. Trump already pulled out of the INF treaty. Okay, there's evidence that both Russia and America are up-arming their arsenals now. Okay, just a few weeks ago, the U.S. tested a Minuteman ICBM with 3 test reentry vehicles on it. Normally, they're only supposed to have 1. Okay, so that's evidence that the U.S. is rearming all of their Minuteman 3 ICBMs. Okay, Russia deployed their RS-28 Sarmat, the heaviest missile in history. All right, so tensions are just sky high. Okay, and Russia's doing an emergency alert system test tomorrow. According to information that I have, this test is going to take place at an unknown time, and there's going to be alerts sent out on TVs, radios, and cell phones, in addition to sirens and loudspeakers, and it's going to be all across Russia. But what's interesting is there's going to be no set time for it, versus here in the U.S., they're going to do it at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time to 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. And by the way, I'm going to be live streaming about an hour before it starts here. So join me on the live stream, and we're going to be witnessing a historic event, because I don't believe the U.S. has ever done a nationwide emergency alert system test. And make no mistake about it, the only reason why you would do a nationwide emergency alert system test is to make sure it's working in the event of a nuclear war, because that's the only time that the U.S. government would ever send out an emergency alert across the entire country, is if there was a nuclear war, or we were invaded by aliens, or if there was an asteroid, something cataclysmic. Okay, so the U.S. is gearing up, Russia's gearing up. It's a very serious situation right now. Okay, we also had Dmitry Peskov, the spokesman for the Kremlin. He said that Putin's visit to China will take place soon enough. All right, and that's what I'm really concerned about, is Putin's visit to China. He hasn't been there since the beginning of the war. Okay, he went there just like 2 days before the war started. He got permission from Xi Jinping to invade Ukraine, and now he's going back there again. So they're definitely going to eke out some kind of something, whether it's, he's going to ask permission to launch nukes at Ukraine, or maybe China's going to attack Taiwan at the same time as Putin nukes Ukraine. It's very possible, guys. There's a lot of uh, prophecies out there that talk about Ukraine getting nuked. One of the most credible ones, in my opinion, is the Azov Mena prophecy, which was told by an American pastor that lived in Ukraine for 20 years. And he said that God showed him this future war between Ukraine and Russia, where Russia would initially invade Ukraine, eastern Ukraine, and there would be a mass exodus of people, and then the war would go on, and then there would be a second mass exodus of Ukrainians from Ukraine right before Russia launches nukes. And according to his prophecy, 8 cities across eastern Ukraine would be hit with nuclear weapons. Okay, I hope that doesn't happen, and we should all be praying hard that that does not happen. Okay, for the sake of Ukrainians and for the sake of global stability, we should be praying hard that does not happen. Here we have these nuclear war command and control planes that were up in the air, or that are up in the air now. And this was about 2 hours ago. And you can see this one over here. It took off from Patuxent River, went to upstate New York, and just did this strange flight path. And then it went down to Florida. Really bizarre. And here we have some video footage coming out of Moscow tonight. This is right now, or earlier, maybe just not too long ago, of some air raid sirens going off in Moscow. I don't know if this is related to the emergency alert system test, but there's like air raid sirens going off, and somebody like speaking through speakers. Very, very strange. And actually, there were some explosions reported in Bryansk and also in Belgorod this evening in Russia. Okay, those are cities in southwestern Russia, but I think that's unrelated to this. But let's listen to this. I can't make out what they're saying here. I don't know if this is related to that test that they're doing. It very well could be, because it's in the middle of the night, and that would be a good time to test, and get people kind of ready to respond in the middle of the night. So let's listen to this. So I'm not sure what they're saying here, but very, very interesting. We also have the White House spokesman, John Kirby, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, saying that the U.S. believes Kyiv has 6 to 8 weeks left to conduct a successful counteroffensive before weather conditions worsen. The weather is not our friend. We have 6 to 8 weeks before things get dire. Okay, so just about 2 months, which sounds about right. We also have some major breaking news coming from Russia. Apparently, Russia is collecting demographic information on young people in Russia now, which could be evidence of a possible massive mobilization plan. Okay, so apparently the Federal Service for Supervision in Education and Science, known as Bernadzar, is going to start collecting information for military records about students of colleges and universities. Okay, so they're collecting demographic information on students at Russian universities. Very, very concerning. Russia could do a massive mobilization, which would catch the Western world by surprise, because the Western world thinks that Russia is beaten down and they're weak now. And if Russia just did like a massive mobilization now, that would really escalate things. And it's possible Putin could do one last massive mobilization. And if that fails, I believe he will use nuclear weapons on Ukraine. I really do. I have a truly bad feeling about all of this. I'm not a fan of Putin, as you guys know, but thinking about it logically, Putin cannot appear to be weak. Okay. He has to appear to be strong at all times. He can't allow Ukraine to win. He's put everything into this war. And if Ukraine wins the war, it's going to be a massive embarrassment for him. Okay. So he's going to do everything he can to make sure Ukraine doesn't win. If it means another big mobilization, he'll do it. If that fails, I think he'll do just nuclear strikes, or he may just skip the mobilization and go right to nuclear. But he's going to China for something serious, okay? We also have some breaking news that apparently there's going to be a major naval exercise taking place in the South China Sea, which is going to involve the Philippines, Australia, the US, Canada, Japan, Britain, and France, okay, which is basically right in China's backyard, basically showing solidarity against China, pushing back against their bullying behavior in the South China Sea. And speaking of China, we have a bizarre situation in which a Chinese sub apparently was sunk by a Chinese anti-submarine device. Okay, so China sunk their own sub by accident, and this is being reported by the UK Daily Mail. So apparently, some secret British intelligence is saying that on the 21st of August, there was some kind of an incident where this Chinese sub hit some kind of like chain and anchor that basically the Chinese put around their coastline. Okay, these chains and anchors that are supposed to basically catch the submarines and somehow sink them or whatever. And so they went into one of their own traps. Okay, and apparently it resulted in the death of 55 crew members. All right, so let me just read to you a little bit about this. So apparently the submarine hit a chain and anchor obstacle used by the Chinese Navy to trap U.S. and allied submarines. This resulted in systems failures that took 6 hours to repair and surface the vessel. The onboard oxygen system poisoned the crew after a catastrophic failure. And this is where it happened, right in the Yellow Sea. And this is the submarine. It was the Shang-class submarine. So it's a nuclear-powered attack sub, which can carry up to 22 torpedoes and various types of cruise missiles and anti-ship mines and all kinds of stuff. So that's pretty much the latest information that I have, guys. Okay, nuclear warplanes airborne tonight. Russia getting ready to do their emergency alert system test tomorrow. We're getting ready to do it. Join me on my live stream at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, and we will be witnessing history together, because I think this is the first time the U.S. has ever done a nationwide emergency alert system test. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.